I'm gonna try to make this as quick as possible because this is actually rigged and I don't know how long this mic is gonna last. So I just got out of the meeting a few hours ago for my job that was flooded, and they gave us as much information as they felt like we needed. They told us what the future plans were and what that process was going to be like. So we got like a severance letter, we got unemployment information, and then we got a separation agreement. Now, for the unemployment, I don't know if I'm going to get it because during the pandemic, apparently they overpaid me $13,000 worth of money and funds. What I think happened was I was considered an essential worker. However, despite working, I still applied for the unemployment because at the time my job told me that we can still apply for unemployment if we were part-time workers. And at the time I was, because I was getting under 30 hours a week at the time. I applied and they were giving me unemployment. Mind you, still broke at this time, you know, like wasn't making much money between the unemployment and my job because restaurants were still quite slow during, like for the first year, 18 months or so of COVID, restaurants were still slow. But they told me sometime around like last year, or maybe the year before that, but I'm thinking last year, I was given notice that they had overpaid me during COVID, and they started taking my state income tax checks. So I'm like, okay, what else? That's that debt. One thing about y'all, the MF and IRS, y'all might not pay nobody when you're supposed to. Y'all might figure out how to keep somebody's money or hide it from them, unclaimed cash, but when you want your shit, you're gonna take it, right? So anyways, I don't know if applying for unemployment, that this is gonna be something completely separate since it's a natural disaster from what I owe the IRS for what they overpaid me during COVID, but fingers crossed. So I actually came to the library right after the meeting so I could apply for the unemployment. Then, okay, it's still good. Then I applied for 2 more jobs. Now, one of these jobs, they were supposed to be doing, or they claimed they were doing, immediate interviews. And I applied to schedule an immediate interview, but after putting in, you know, my information, my name, my phone number, my email, and what part of the country I am in, and pressing schedule an interview, this little thing in the left-hand corner was like, oh no, something went wrong. And I did that multiple times, like 30. And every single time it said, oh no, something went wrong. So I ended up calling them like, hey, how y'all doing? I applied to y'all a job, and online it's saying, oh, girl, something's wrong. We can't help you here. And of course, the manager was on the phone. He was like, yeah, well, if the website is saying that, we're completely separate from the website. We can't help you either. I was like, okay. So that was a dud. Then I had applied to another job like last week. This was the day of or the day after the flood had happened, if I'm not mistaken. And I applied for another job, and I called. Now, this is some stuff we used to do back in the day. And I called, I was like, hello, hi, I'm calling because I applied like last week, and I wanted to see, you know, has anyone had an opportunity to review my application? And if so, can I offer an opportunity to come interview? You know what I mean? Like, I'm ready to work, boo. Got an explanation and everything. They gave us papers to give y'all to show that I ain't BSing. And the girl on the phone was like, well, the hiring manager isn't here right now, so you're gonna have to call back. So I don't know if that was the truth or an excuse. So that's that. And also, I don't have any of my stuff. It's crazy how much of a bag lady I've become since being unhoused. I switched between saying homeless, unhoused, nowhere to live. But since becoming unhoused, I've become such a bag lady. Like, my little flowery book bag is so packed full of stuff because there's no in and out in the shelter. Like, once you leave, you can't come back until it's time to check in. The only time they let you come back is if you worked at least 5 hours. And the only time they let me come back outside of working 5 hours when I did my own laundry, but I legit had to be dropping my stuff off and out because they will come looking for your behind. So I left my book bag in the dorm, and I don't have any of the things. Like, I don't have my boom mic, I don't have my tripod, and I don't have my light. So I'm using my lavalier mic. I've set up this thing on the wastebasket that was in the room, and I'm using the light from my phone. Such is life. You gotta figure things out. I feel like there's more to tell, but I can't think off the bat. Oh yeah, oh my God. I'm not necessarily intentionally dragging my feet on this claim, but I wanna make sure everything is what it's supposed to be. And then I've been trying to transfer, so I don't know what is up with the operating system with iPhone and Mac products, but I've been trying to transfer as much of the content that's on my phone, like older pictures from years ago and stuff, like the memories that I want to keep, transfer them from the phone to a USB drive, and then be able to wipe the phone clear and kind of start new on content, since I just want to film from this phone strictly. But it won't do that. Like, I was able to transfer a few things, but then despite it being, so I bought a 256 gigabyte, which means it's about 220, maybe 230 gigabytes actually on the USB drive. This phone is only 100, it's only 128 gigabytes. And I only used about, it differentiates depending on how long my content is, between like 125 to 127 gigabytes that I use on my phone. But for some reason, I can download stuff from online, from my email and stuff, onto the USB drive. But trying to transfer other things from the small amount of stuff from the iPhone to the USB drive is proven to be futile, because it's saying there's not enough space. How is there not enough space? I don't get it. You're only 128 gigabytes, and then the USB drive has at least 120, 130 gigabytes. Why you playing with me, babe? You see what I'm saying? Hold up. Stay still. I'm also starving. Now, there was food. We had food because we were at another restaurant that so we were at a restaurant in the city that I live in. That's where we had the meeting, in the city that I live in. But I work in the next city over. That's like driving from where I used to live, and when I had a car, to driving to that city, it was 12 to 15 minutes when there was no traffic at the crack of dawn. I'm not even exaggerating. But we were at a restaurant that also had another restaurant / bakery in the shopping center where my restaurant's located. And they had food, and the only thing I ate were the French fries, because it was like chicken, bratwurst, pork bellies, stuff that I just don't eat. There was salad, but they gobbled up the salad before I got a chance to get to it. So I only ate French fries. Now, while my mind's on this, let me go ahead and tell you what else has happened. So, about the car that I don't have. So in November 13th actually, I totaled my red car. It was a 2017 Ford Escape. I was making payments on it. I did that so it would be something to like help build my credit. Not a good idea. But anyways, I totaled that car November 13th, which was the exact day that my insurance lapsed, because I like to pay my insurance like every 6 months, and I like full coverage no matter how old or raggedy the car I have is. I get full coverage, baby. And I have freaking inexperienced drivers on my insurance. So it got totaled that day, the same day that my insurance lapsed. After that, that was it. You know, like I tried to see if I could still make a claim with my car insurance, but they were like, nope. And I no longer have in my possession, at least, like physically or somewhere like I can immediately grab it. I no longer have the police report. It's somewhere in storage amongst all the papers and child, should I just stop slapping the damn desk? I move my hands too much, for one thing. And is this, okay, this is still going at least. But look, I was talking about, yeah, so it's amongst the stuff in storage, which can probably be considered junk now. But nothing's molded that I know of, that I can tell. So it's technically still stuff. But the police report is somewhere amongst all that. So the loan company that I loaned the money from, that I'm paying back, making the payments to, they've been calling me. Mind you, yeah, a few months ago, they had called me and I explained to them like, hey, the car was towed by the city because, you know, I couldn't make the claim from my car insurance, so the city towed it. And they were like, well, you know, not only are you responsible for almost $14K in payments that you haven't made, and we're trying to recover, or in other words, repossess the car, but, you know, you're gonna have to find out where it is so that we can recover the car. I was like, okay, I get that, but I don't know how. I don't have the police report and all that. And I was like, oh wait, you know what? The police report is done by who? The police. So who should I call? The MF Police Department. So I called the MF Police Department, and it took 15 minutes for this lady to find that car accident in the system. Stuff like this happens to me often. Can't nobody find nothing. Don't nobody know where nothing is. Like, no matter how, like, a little bit of a tangent, but no matter how much time someone has spent with me, how close someone gets to me, how much they copy me, people really act like they don't remember any of the experiences we have. Like, yes, it's a bit disappointing because it's like, you don't remember me, but it's a bit more creepy because it's like, do the memories that you have of me and the things I've told you that I've been through, did you make, in your mind, did you decide that that was you? Like, did you make up in your head that the things that I told you that before I met you and knew that you existed as a person, and vice versa, you knowing me existing as a person, and I'm explaining to you like some of the things that I've done, been through, and experienced, you decided that they were things that you've done and experienced? Because that's fucking psychotic. But anyways, that's just how I think of shit. So anyways, I'm on the phone for about 15 minutes with the lady, and I'm being very patient at the time. I'm, you know, asking her like, hey, I had a car accident November 13th, and I want to know if I can get information on where the car was towed to. And she was like, okay, what's the police report number? I was like, I don't have access to that right now. It's in storage and I really can't get that to you. And I was like, can I give you my name? Anything like that. She was like, let me try your name. And then she's using my name. And she was like, the only one I see was in January. And cause I had 2 accidents like within about a year's time or so on the same road, but on 2 completely different ends of the road. And I was explaining, no, that accident on that date was at this intersection on that street. This one was on this intersection in this street. And I'm giving her like landmarks and things to consider, like it was right in front of this business and this business on this intersection. Does it say anything like that? No. And eventually she found, I forgot exactly how she found it, but she ended up finding it and was able to give me the police report number, the officer who was dispatched, and she was like, it looks like it was taken to one spot. It was towed to one spot and then taken to another. So she gave me 2 different towing companies, their phone numbers for me to call and connect to and figure out exactly where it is. So I'm not doing that today. Not worried about that car today. I will call them people tomorrow or the next day. I'm focused on getting me some money, getting me a job, and getting me home. Because the school year is coming up like ASAP. Well, today is like the 15th, but whenever I post this, more than likely if the school year hasn't happened, it's coming up within the next 2 weeks or so. And my kids are still stuck with my family who's been mistreating them, and